Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where before we get started, I just want to address that I know that some groups are going to be absolutely delighted by the latest developments at the box office, because both Top Gun Maverick and Lightyear have become highly politicized films. Lightyear, you know why, but Top Gun Maverick has become politicized, unfortunately, because some people are using it as an example of what all movies should be like. Sure, there's some diversity, but it's, in the background, it's really an afterthought, which was one of my few problems with the film. I mean, the reason Top Gun Maverick is doing so well is because everybody likes it. Everyone on the face of the earth likes Top Gun Maverick for the most part. I'm sure there will be one of you who's like, I don't care for it, Grace. But we've always talked about Hollywood wanting to mobilize the conservative audience and get them to see more Hollywood product. And as that happens with shows like Yellowstone and now movies like Top Gun Maverick, that is a win for Hollywood because, you always want to inject more money into the marketplace. But I don't like Top Gun Maverick being used to say bad things about other films, because even though this is what the box office looks like right now, there have been plenty of more representative films that have done quite well. So it's like what I was talking about last week, where you have to have the right story and the right talent. And then everybody has a great time. So Hollywood better fix its game, because they're just really handing over, I think, some unfortunate headlines to people who I think are, this is a tough time. But for people who are trying to, I think, weaponize some headlines and put some hateful comments out there, Hollywood certainly doesn't need to give them ammunition. All right, so as I said, hello and welcome to this week's Movie Math. Have fun down in the comments. Where Maverick did it. He flew the box office obstacle course. I wonder how Tom Cruise feels about suddenly being a conservative star, who, by the way, is a member of a cult. Although, I will say that there are some Supreme Court justices who are members of cults. But anyway, so I guess that's not a problem. But I wonder if Tom Cruise will lean into this. He's always had a little bit of a problem with diversity in his movies, which has held him back in the past. Women included, until only recently he was switching out as leading lady every movie. But I do wonder what lessons Tom Cruise will take from this. But anyway, he flew the treacherous box office obstacle course, made dangerous both by the pandemic and Top Gun Maverick not being a genre movie. But he just flew into the $1 billion club, baby. Woohoo! Only the second $1 billion club movie during the whole pandemic. That's impressive. That's exciting. Woohoo! Now, Paramount has $4 billion pictures, the biggest they share with Fox. That's such a big movie, money can go around. Fox distributed that film overseas. But they have 2 Transformers movies all to themselves that are $1 billion club movies, which is why they keep trying to get that franchise back online. But these 4 movies allow Paramount to pull ahead of Sony, who just has 3, and they're now just 1 movie behind Warner Brothers, who has 5. Universal has 7 billion-dollar movies, while Disney has a whopping 25. Ridiculous! I think this is also exciting because it shows other studios finally maybe starting to get on the board. But they have to pick up how often they do it, because Disney just keeps adding to the pile. And of course, this is Tom Cruise's first $1 billion picture. He willed it into existence by also producing this film with his crack team of creatives, Kosinski and McQuarrie, and insisting that Paramount sit on this movie for 2 years. He's like, you ain't putting my movie on streaming. I don't care if you have a new streaming service. You're just going to sit on this thing. And it worked out real swell. Because, Tom Cruise insisted that this would hit theaters. It was a godsend for Paramount, a godsend for him, and a godsend for the theatrical business, which really could use the hit. Will Smith has $1 billion picture, Aladdin, while, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio has Titanic, but that was his first big movie, so it doesn't really count as his win. Fascinatingly, Johnny Depp has 3, which is one of the way the loss of his career, I think, has been felt so deeply, not only by him, but by Hollywood, having him taken off the board. He did franchise work, but I think that those franchises were built around Johnny Depp. He was what made those franchises work. But no other movie stars really have any billion-dollar pictures. In most cases, it's the franchise that's the star, or it's Cameron, who has 2 movies in the $1 billion club, or Nolan and Spielberg, who each have 1 apiece. No, I think Nolan, thanks to re-releases, actually has 2. But Spielberg has produced a number of additional movies that happen to be in the $1 billion club, thanks to his franchise work behind Transformers and the Jurassic movies. Top Gun Maverick is also one of the few non-genre films to join the $1 billion club, joining Cameron's Avatar and Titanic and Skyfall, which is kind of a Nolan win because Sam Mendes copied Nolan. But that's a big deal. It's also one of the few films to have an almost even split between domestic and overseas box office, whereas usually it's 60 to 70% of a $1 billion club movie's box office that comes from overseas. But Top Gun Maverick is doing very well domestically. Halfway through the year, Top Gun Maverick is the highest grossing film of 2022 stateside and worldwide. As for the all-time charts, Top Gun Maverick is at the very bottom of the $1 billion club. It's just right there. It's right there, neck and neck with The Dark Knight. All-time domestic, Top Gun Maverick currently sits at number 15. It would need another $100 million to get into the top 10 and unseat The Last Jedi at 620.1. Another $100 million? I don't see it happening. Although I do think that Top Gun Maverick could come close, as it has the whole 4th of July holiday, which is really this coming week and the whole week after before Thor hits, and only Minions is entering the marketplace, and that's really not the same. That's not the same audience whatsoever. Do you have any Top Gun Maverick showings left in you? Top Gun Maverick is as great a 4th of July movie as it was a Memorial Day weekend movie. And Top Gun Maverick even got some premium screens back this weekend. But Universal's Minions, it's important to note, is taking over all the premium screens starting this Thursday afternoon. And, right now, the premium screens are being divided up between Lightyear, Jurassic World Dominion, and a couple showings for Top Gun Maverick. So if you're interested in seeing any of these movies before Minions hits and takes over the screens, you might want to check out your local listings right now. It would be oh so sweet for Top Gun Maverick to also reclaim the number 1 spot in its 5th week of release. Look at that 32% hold. That's beautiful. However, right now it's in a photo finish with Warner Brothers' Elvis for first place. We'll find out tomorrow who is the number 1 for reals, and I think it will be Top Gun Maverick. But it's great for Elvis to be right in it. All of Hollywood is eating good right now, with 4 movies getting a $20 million plus slice of the pie. It would have been 5 if Lightyear had imploded, which we'll get to momentarily. But with 4 movies north of $20 million in the same frame, 2 of them new movies with Jurassic World Dominion stomping towards $1 billion, or at least getting awfully close, it's slowing down a little bit. But Hollywood's delighted. This is very nice for Hollywood. Interestingly, Elvis skewed female and older, 2 demographics that Hollywood has been trying to get back out to the multiplex as well. But also, and this is less shocking, it had an overwhelmingly Caucasian audience. Now, some of you don't understand why the demographics of the audience don't reflect the demographics of the country. I'll tell you why. Audience breakdowns don't reflect the actual demographics of the United States because different groups come out in different numbers typically. People of color and people on the coastal cities, which are more diverse cities, typically a greater percentage of those groups comes out week to the multiplex over the percentage of people in the white communities, rural and middle America. So a greater number of people of color, in terms of the whole piece of the whole pie, go out to the movies each week than actually makes up the demographics of the country. Now, yes, movies like Top Gun Maverick mobilize those demographics that don't turn out as much to go to the multiplex. But that adds to the base that's consistent for Hollywood, and that's the more diverse bases of New York, Los Angeles, and Atlanta. Very diverse cities. Sometimes Chicago and Austin also can be big movie-going cities, but that's what typically drives the theatrical box office. And if you want a really big movie, you mobilize everyone else who doesn't usually go. But typically, most movies have a breakdown where the Caucasian demographic has a 4 in front of it. That's what's typical for who goes to the movies, the breakdown. Now, Elvis, I just want to explain that to you because a lot of you ask about it week to week and say things that are incorrect. All right, so anyway, Elvis has an A- cinema score, which is very nice. So it could have legs for the 4th of July holiday. And of course, it hits HBO Max in just 45 days, where I think it could do quite well. When do you plan to watch Elvis, if at all? But if you plan to watch Elvis, if you haven't already, when do you think you might do that? Would it be in a theater during the upcoming holiday? Or if you're overseas, you don't have a holiday coming up, but it's summer, or maybe you're going to wait for HBO Max. And The Black Phone is a small improvement on the last horror flick from Jason Blum, Ethan Hawke, and Scott Derrickson, together again, who pretty much jump-started all their careers back in 2012 with Sinister. $23 million, though, isn't the revenge I'm sure Derrickson was hoping for as he enters the same marketplace as the movie he was kicked off of, Doctor Strange 2. I think he would have liked a 3 in front of it. Although that B-plus cinema score for a horror movie has got to feel good, and that's, of course, the same cinema score as Doctor Strange 2. This just goes to show, though, that Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World Dominion are squeezing the box office right now, soaking up all the moviegoers as crowd favorites. Are you seeing those two movies multiple times? I know a lot of you are seeing Top Gun Maverick multiple times, but what about Jurassic World Dominion? How many times are you guys going to this? Or have you gone late, not opening weekend? I've seen both twice, although in terms of box office, one of those times for each movie was a press screening. All right. Lightyear. As I said, what a disaster. But like I also said last weekend, it's impossible to tell exactly why Lightyear isn't doing well, as there are so many reasons. I really feel it's a perfect storm. But for sure, I do feel that Lightyear is having a hard time going up against Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World Dominion, which are much more fun films. In its second weekend, Lightyear has fallen 65%, which is the second weekend drop ever for a Pixar movie, topped only by Onward, which of course had the horrible luck of coming out right when the pandemic was getting started, which I think accounts for that movie's second weekend drop. So really it is the worst second weekend drop when you take out the pandemic effect for Pixar. Whew, poor Angus MacLane. This was his first movie he's directing. He's supposed to be Mr. Buzz Lightyear over there, and he just completely sunk the character. Yikes. Well, sometimes you're too in it. Sometimes you're too in it. You don't have the benefit of perspective. That's why you're supposed to have people work. Animation, just like all of movie making, is a team business. So they need to get some different perspectives in here, I think, to help them out. Lightyear has managed to thankfully top Onward at the domestic box office, but I think it will struggle to even match The Good Dinosaur at this rate, and that puts it really at the bottom of the pack of Pixar's domestic box office. So it looks like Pixar, whether they like it or not, does have themselves another Disney Plus movie. Will Lightyear even do well on Disney Plus? I'm not sure at this point. I thought, I think time will be kind to Lightyear, but not that kind, because it's not a really, really fun movie. Speaking of streaming, though, Nielsen's numbers are delayed. What? As it is, they're already weeks behind, but now they're not even releasing this week? They seem to have a couple of things they want to shore up before they put out their latest report. And that's because this latest report will cover the massive Memorial Day weekend releases, Stranger Things 4 and Obi-Wan. And I think Nielsen wants to make sure they get it just right. That should drop early this coming week, and I'll just cover it on a live stream, because we are going to want to talk about it. Over on Netflix, for just last week, interestingly, new movie Spiderhead couldn't unseat Hustle itself in its second week of release. But both movies, I think, are excellent star vehicles for Sandler and Hemsworth. I think they're both definitely streaming movies. I've seen both. I would actually recommend both. Spiderhead could be much better. They both could be much better. Spiderhead's like basically a really long Twilight Zone episode. But it's really beautiful. It's gorgeous. Not only with who's on screen, but its production values and locations are really stunning. But both movies, I think, are really, they showcase how charismatic both Sandler and Hemsworth are. Speaking of Hemsworth, his wife Elsa Pataki's Interceptor is also still in the top 10 for the third week in a row, making them a Netflix power couple, as we've discussed before. But J-Lo's documentary debuted just in the middle of the pack did her negative Shakira comments, which made quite the rounds on social media, get people to literally tune out. As for shows on Netflix, Stranger Things 4 continues to dominate, but the previous seasons have fallen off, allowing Peaky Blinders' final season and LGBT series First Kill to rise to second and third place. Interestingly, First Kill got higher ever than Heartstopper, which I think just goes to show the power of genre content. That's about vampires and vampire hunters. Thank you very much. And hopefully Melissa McCarthy's debut towards the bottom of the top 10, because, with Thunder Force, she did pretty good. She actually debuted at the top. But here, debuting down at the bottom, maybe this will finally be the wake-up call, or the mini wake-up call, to get her to stop working with husband Ben Falcone, the Netflix power couple that nobody wants, but yet we still also have. And on iTunes, thanks to being available to rent, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent beat out Doctor Strange 2 to become number 1. Doctor Strange 2 was number 1 all week when it dropped on Tuesday, but Doctor Strange 2 is also on Disney Plus at no extra cost, although with also no extras. So uncool, but that's why Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I think, is number 1 here. And Maika Monroe has another strong indie thriller after it follows And the Guest, yet her career never seems to level up. Dan Stevens leveled up off of The Guest. Why not Maika Monroe? I think there's a lot of competition for her with, not only, she has a little bit of a Margot Robbie look, but also Samara Weaving kind of took off as another version of Margot Robbie, and that leaves Maika Monroe in third place. As for this coming week, as I said, Universal's Minions hopes to open big, and all the previous movies in this franchise have, so Universal's hopes are well-founded. While Mr. Malcolm's List also hits theaters, and one has to wonder why. On streaming tonight, Westworld returns, season 4 on HBO and HBO Max at 9 p.m. It airs on HBO and drops on HBO Max to stream at 9 p.m. That's how they handle those shows, those hybrid shows. And Showtime brings back The Cheat. Tomorrow, Netflix has Norwegian comedy Blasted, a movie about a bachelor party that gets interrupted by an alien invasion. On Tuesday, Only Murders in the Building is back on Hulu. Can they pull off a season 2? It seems like a one-season idea, so this will be interesting. While on Wednesday, Baymax drops on Disney Plus. I've seen a few of those shorts in advance. They're cute. They're definitely shorts, though, but I thought they were charming. San Francisco is so well realized. And season 2 of The Upshaws drops on Netflix on Wednesday. Then on Friday, Friday is so big! The final 2 episodes of Stranger Things 4, which is 4 hours of content. That's how long these 2 episodes are. Oh, I'm so excited. Netflix didn't even give screeners out to press because I think surely someone dies. So they're trying to help avoid spoilers as much as possible. I'll be posting my spoiler review by the end of that day because I got to get up and watch the episodes and then, gather my thoughts, process them. It's going to be a great day. July 1st is basically Stranger Things 4 day. Chris Pratt, though, will return to Amazon as well that day with a series this time after his, he had a very popular movie there after last 4th of July, but now he has a series, The Terminal List, which will drop all of its episodes on Friday as well. And Hulu has Joey King's new movie, The Princess, a medieval bubblegum actioner. That should do pretty well, hopefully, but who against Stranger Things 4? I think Stranger Things 4 is going to dominate the weekend. So that's this week's movie math. What have you been watching? What do you plan to watch? What are you saving for the 4th of July holiday if you're in the United States? Leading up into the holiday, and then, of course, right after. 4th of July falls on a Monday, which basically creates a 2-week holiday here in the United States. And what do you think of all the big movie headlines this weekend? From highs like Top Gun Maverick and Elvis to lows like Lightyear. And what do you think of how politics has really seeped into this conversation? It's fascinating. And, let's just leave it at that. Because, it's rough out there. All right, share your thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And, of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.